So last Friday,
Yeah.
I'm subbing for Lubie, who's off in Spain, and had to come back and tell me how great Spain was. And how, like, oh, you really need to go to Spain, Ken. You would love Spain. On the same fucking day where Trump announced he's going to let Elon computerize all airplanes. Like, have you been on fucking Twitter? You're letting this man now control your lives with airplanes. The best case scenario is that fucking Sophie Rain is going to be walking up and down the aisles selling her OnlyFans on every airplane. And if you don't understand that Sophie Rain reference, you should thank God, because everybody who's been on Twitter in the last few years does. But the way Elon runs fucking Twitter, you want to let this man now be in charge of your actual life by getting on an airplane? There is no way I'm going to Spain. There's no way I'm going anywhere. I would rather take the goddamn bright line in terms of safety. And it kills like 4 people a day, but at least they're outside the train. It's not the passengers.
Not a great idea to stop on the tracks. We would have to agree with that.
I 1,000%. I don't want to get on the bright line either. But compared to airplanes right now, it seems like the safest ride in the history of history.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
So little time, Lubie. So little time and so much confusion. A lot of confusion out there. Good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here on this fine Thursday. We will have the trivia challenge today. It is a little bit, I don't know, do you consider it? It's still a shocker to me that Lenny the Chronic checked out.
I was like, do we pay taps? But you've always told me our taps is more of a mocking thing. So we pay homage and our respects and celebrate the life of a guy that was I call him a dear friend. I consider him a dear friend. He was there for ever since day one, ever since the first trivia challenge. I helped you guys on since when I first started with you. I think that was my duty, was doing Saturdays. Chronic was always like the first person to call.
Usually the first guy calling in.
He was always there.
We and look, a guy calls a show that you're doing for 25 plus years and then continues right through it. It didn't matter what platform we were on, Lubie, and let's face it,
We've been
a lot of people couldn't find us with a search mark there and still can't, which is amazing. I mean, no matter how many times I come across somebody during the day that says, hey, I've been listening to what your big guy's been doing. I would say the numbers are not favorable, very much like our college basketball prognostications lately on our Bury Your Bookie show.
Oh, God.
The numbers are not favorable. Imagine this. I mean, we had a real good handicapper on yesterday. He goes 1-2. You know what his one win was?
Oh, God.
Miami getting 8.5 from Florida State.
Oh, did we win?
Florida State wins by 8.
Oh, okay. Well, at least we won.
So, but for that dagger, I mean, the guy's
by a hook.
and it's Wipeout City, my friend. Wipeout City. But anyway, still a shocker. 25 years guy calls the show, Lenny the Chronic. He was the all-time winner. He ran away with it. He was at one time in a battle. He might not have been on the show at the very beginning, Lubie. I don't know.
He's not that. He's in his.
I'm talking about, way back when the Polyman and I were doing this.
He was in his early 60s. You
midnight
guys were doing it in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was then, but he was from early on, from what I've heard.
And you guys that follow us and have found us somehow, as if you were Columbus. Yeah, I think that's land over there, Chris. Why don't we stop in and see if we can make something happen here? I mean, the odyssey of the whole story. And it began at WIOD over 25 years ago with the Polyman and me, and we did it out of desperation because we had been boned out of an advertising contract with, of all places, Gulfstream Park, who later on would become, but for this one marketing director, just always super generous.
Yep.
In their, just lack of haste whatsoever. Whatever we proposed to them, they usually we'll take a piece of that.
Yeah,
and great to have that kind of sponsorship and backing over the years. But there was a guy, his name was David Rovine, and I hold no grudges in this racket. I mean, most people treat you extremely favorably. Would you agree with that, Lubie?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're not necessarily on the end where the dividends all come your way in terms of, the real gratuitous nature of many of the sponsors that we've had over the years. But you've done your share. You've dealt with a couple of people on your own, and
yes,
it's worked out, and it's mostly very favorable. But
yes,
Yeah, so Polyman and I we're trying to keep anything going on horse racing. It was a taboo subject for most people, and I don't agree with this. I've been hearing a lot of this lately from our good friend Chris Visser, who's gotten involved with the Bleacher Brothers, and so he's how he is. I mean, he's an irrepressible, suggestive program director type.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah.
And I couldn't disagree with you more on one thing. And I believe that much of this is personality driven. That if somebody has any kind of personality, that if somebody can do something that is even mildly entertaining in a different way than most other conventional sports talk shows, look, everybody's going to have their favorites. And there are a lot of, just give me the facts, Jack Webb type of listeners out there. I would say, what? Is our good friend Jim Sarney one of those type of
My
listeners?
dad always was. It's why when I got into this, presumed that's what you were supposed to do, because that's all my dad listened to was just.
Everybody knows the facts, though. They're readily available. It's not like you're digging up anything and going, holy shit, can you believe that?
Yep.
The Dolphins were 8-9 last year. We all know that. And what does that represent to you? Do you need an interpreter to figure out they sucked? Expectations to productivity, and you can say all you want. Well, expectations. That's a figment of the imagination of the media and fans. Every fan thinks their team should go undefeated, and most media guys say, hey, no matter what you do, you underachieved. Because what? Is it easier to be negative, Lubie? Is that the way that this team works?
You can't look at. They went all in. They signed everything extensions. Like, that's the year that you're supposed to vie for a Super Bowl. Like, no.
Catastrophic failure, you would have to say.
Yeah, that was a bad. I mean, it was the third year of this regime, I guess. Even though the GM's been there for 45 years,
should be making progress.
Yeah, they went backwards.
And there weren't enough excuses to justify it or vindicate the people that are in charge, which would be Stephen Ross as owner. Now, I tend not to blame the owner so much unless the owner is extremely intrusive. Now, there can be, and we've seen examples of it, owners that maybe need to really get involved a little bit more, or have just failed so miserably in terms of the people they put in charge, maybe getting bad advice from people. Who was the guy that used to be with the Eagles that was always in the ear of Stephen Ross and everybody? And he was a USFL guy also, and he seemed to have almost Elon Musk type of control.
Oh, the owner
over Stephen Ross. No, he was just like a guy. He was advising Stephen Ross when he first bought the team, and his name escapes me. I can picture him.
Carl, what's his name?
Gray hair.
I don't know.
A fairly distinguished looking guy, and it had a good resume. There was reason to believe that he would be somebody that his advice might be relevant to having some success, but couldn't have been any more catastrophic. Ross, you would have to say, is just too soft. I mean, what did he say after this 8-9 season? Did he come in there screaming at his team? Did he say, hey, listen, all you guys, man, you're going to be starving next year because if you don't pick up the pace here, these contracts go in the shredder. This is the NFL. Increased salary cap or not, which I don't know. Sarney just sent out some text about the increased salary cap as if this was a topical thing. Does it have any significance to fans? I mean, so the teams that were strapped against the salary cap now have an extra, whatever it is, 40 million or 20 million.
From what I saw, it wasn't that much. It was like
means they're making a hell of a lot of money, Lubie, does it not? Yeah. Look what it is. I remember when the salary cap, what was it? When this was first initiated? Wasn't it like 50, 70 million, something like that?
It's like 50, 60 million for a long time.
It's 280 million, and your quarterback's sucking up a good portion of that.
100%. Yeah. So about a
quarter. I mean, imagine having to pay Brock Purdy $40 million a year. Nothing against the kid. Great story, right? Is Brock Purdy somebody that you look at and you go, wow, that's a $40 million a year athlete? Because the numbers have gone up exponentially isn't even an accurate word to describe the way the numerology has gone up in terms of pay scales and amount of revenue that is being reaped in by these teams. Are you kidding me? The MLS is making money, aren't they? Is that true, Lubie? By the way, did they start their season last night? Was that an official game?
I guess, yeah.
That was another Sarney obsession. Are we missing the boat here with you people? No. Are we just not connecting with you guys? Should we not be concentrating much more heavily on what's going on in the MLS, a minor league version of an absurd game? That's not going to be a popular thing. AJ from Bleacher Brothers tells me, he is the man there. He tells me that soccer draws such tremendous interest. For the life of me, Lubie, it's kind of like figuring out that 50% of the country wanted to have Donald Trump as
Yeah,
president.
exactly.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah,
But
right.
does it convince me that it's the
Ah,
right call? I mean, look what's going on. What's going on? It was awful of Zelensky to say, "Hey, Russia, why don't you bomb the fuck out of all of our major cities and kill hundreds of thousands of people because you want some land back?"
it's- just I don't. I shake my head.
Inciting a war.
Yes, it was his fault that they invaded him.
This guy that could be off, in Monte Carlo somewhere with a bunch of hot babes, playing roulette every night as if he was James Bond, stuck it out there while they're bombing the fuck out of his own city.
Yes, I don't
Zelensky
understand.
and the Klitschko's, I don't want to hear any negativity about those guys. All
You
right?
would think. I mean, again, they were invaded. Like sometimes, if you just look up the definition of words, it would help him before he opened his mouth. Like he
A
doesn't
fucking
understand the
comedian
definition.
comes in and is this heroic
He did the
leader
best he
of
can.
an impossible. I mean, you talk about what should be a potential blowout. This was like watching your Florida State Seminoles the last
Oh
early
yeah,
portion of the season, Lubie, and where you're at Notre Dame going. My son and his lovely wife Kelly actually went to this game, a planned trip. They wanted to see the Seminoles. She's a Seminole,
well,
like
going
you.
into the season, I would have been excited when they planned it.
They planned it like a year before. Wow, let's
Yeah.
go to South Bend and go take in a classic stadium, which I'm a big fan of that, right? There are places that
Oh
you
yeah.
want to take in a game.
Yep.
I don't know. As much as I hate Notre Dame, I wouldn't mind going to a game there. Would you? I guess I would.
Wow. No, that's big. Like, look, I couldn't stand the Yankees growing up, but you always heard about Yankee
Yankee
Stadium.
Stadium, right?
I don't give a shit about the Red Sox, but I still would want to see Fenway. Cubs, I've never had an affinity for, but you want to see Wrigley. Yeah, obviously, like the Packers. I don't want to go when Dave Gurggles Gergely went, but like early in the season, when it's like
I
October.
don't know what the spread was on that game, Louis. I would imagine it was very high double digits.
Oh yeah, yeah. We were
Maybe
supposed to get highlighted.
approaching 20. Is that possible? Notre Dame at that point,
They were good by then.
they already were good. Okay. The Northern Illinois game still will stand out and make you think, how the fuck did that happen? But you can almost say that every day, Luby, if you're following
Yep.
sports. And
Yeah,
that's
of
why
course.
this gambling is, it's a slippery slope.
Mhm.
As Rod Steiger, who played the judge in the movie The Hurricane about Reuben Hurricane Carter, one of my favorite fighters of all time, still remember this guy, man. He was an imposing presence without having much to say. And he became, a very eloquent speaker and an inspiring figure later on after sitting in jail like 16 years, I think it was, for a crime that there was like the evidence was so clear that this guy had nothing to do with it that there's no way that anybody would ever bring this case. You think there's racism in the United States of
Oh,
America? Libby?
oh, good.
This was Patterson, New Jersey, my friend. Circa what? Carter was on the Gillette fight of the week. It seemed like every week he was fighting Dick Tiger or some other guy that was just a monster. This was when. Where is that series? There's one for Sony to research, right? He's like a television guy and
Mhm.
understands all this stuff. Or maybe Dave Halberstam. Are there are two Dave Halberstams, right? The one guy
Yes.
that was calling the Miami Heat games,
Yes.
and he got a jackpot, made some really bizarre reference, not meaning it. I mean, the guy could not have been. Listen, this guy was a sweetheart of a guy, Luby. Didn't
Okay.
have a nasty bone in
Okay.
his body. But all of a sudden, in the middle of a basketball game, I don't know if you guys remember this, he starts talking about, how Thomas Jefferson had slaves in the middle of like an NBA game. And I don't know. I don't think he made any kind of condoning remark.
Yeah, he just brought it up for some reason. Yeah.
For some reason, you're thinking, what the fuck? I mean, imagine what the producer was doing in his ears at that point. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, they're like, what is going on? He's lost it.
I remember one time, you know what? Nobody likes to be overwhelmingly criticized, Lubia. You probably
I know,
have
we hate it.
as
Yeah.
much experience with this as anybody that
I'm
we
used
know.
to it, but I don't like it.
Yeah. But I mean, I was calling a really boring fight between two guys, and we weren't even at the fight. We were in a studio and we were voicing over what was done in a foreign language. Can you even use that terminology, or is that politically?
Yeah, no. I mean, foreign language is a foreign language.
Okay. So I mean, whatever. These bouts were coming from South America or something, and they only had the Spanish audio, and they were about to distribute it in the United States. So we used to go in there, and as if we were actually at the place. They would green screen you over. You know, people would ask me, "Hey, when were you in Poland?" I'm like, "I never was in fucking Poland."
Never.
So anyway, I don't know. One guy was from Philadelphia, and I mean, it was round after the round, the same boredom. We were in like round 7, and when you're announcing an event and it's not all that interesting, and your job at that point, I mean, not that you're shilling for the promoters or whatever, but I mean, do you really want to sit there? You can only pan the thing so much before it starts to sound like you're against against the people that are paying you
No,
to do the
you
show.
have to just do the fight. I mean, it is what it is. Like
Yeah.
it's there's stuff.
So I go off on something about like Philadelphia fighters, right? All the great fighters that came out of Philadelphia, and I knew a few that were probably not as prominent as I mean, who's the first guy you think of is Smoking Joe Frazier, right? So in my earpiece, as I'm doing this guy was a real stickler. I mean, I had great respect for him, but he didn't want to put up with any shit. And there are people in the business that think the talent is like just a complete fuck up. That their job is to make sure that you don't screw up their show.
Okay.
I mean, well, look, it was kind of that attitude that the people at the radio station had for us.
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
not sense that they were saying, "Why are we letting you guys go on the air?" Not like, "Hey, wow, man, what you did today was great."
They were never happy. They were never. There was
I don't know. Am
always
I alone in that? I mean, nobody really likes that. I mean, this stuck with me
No.
only because I can still hear it in my ear. What the fuck are you talking about Philadelphia fighters for? There's action in the ring. That's your job.
Oh, he says it like that. While you're
Yeah. No, I didn't mind. We were
there's
kind of
nothing
friends
going
there.
on, you idiot.
Nothing. Nobody's doing shit. Not even a good clinch. I mean, nothing. So you're trying to keep the thing, going and keep the ball in the air. That was what my dad always told me. Just keep the ball in the air, and then but that stuck with you, right? Because nobody really wants to face harsh and ugly criticism. That's for sure. But wow, I mean, when you look at the picture here, Lubie, and this is what I was going to get into. I was thinking about this guy today, sellout Mo Fleischer. I've referenced him many times on
Oh,
shows
yep.
because it's remarkable. If there's a sports figure that should be just seen as a god all time, South Florida sports, and it's not. I don't think it's as relevant in other cities. Where I mean, look, is there any other sports town like this one where when you win, which you have to go all the way in this town, you have to win a championship.
Oh yeah, you got to be like in the final. Yeah, the second. Unless look, the Dolphins, people would just be happy whenever they make the playoffs. We
I
celebrate.
think about that. It really is true. I mean, you look at some people that are cynical about the Miami Dolphins. Really, their last playoff win was in what 2000? Is that? Ask Gurggles when he comes on the show here. I mean, he's the captain of all trivia. Now we're going to have the trivia challenge coming up, of course, dedicated to Lenny. But wow, I mean, that's a long stretch of not even mediocrity. I mean, you would have to say with all the teams that make it into the postseason, how is it possible to whiff on a playoff win for a quarter of a century, Louis? Is that right? Was it 2000 or was it later?
Yes, it was 2000.
2000? No.
No, well, in a sport. What do you mean the Browns? Because Mayo first said they're worse than the Browns, and I was like, no one's worse than the Browns. But no, the Browns even have a playoff victory in that span since the Dolphins won. I think they're the longest streak. The Jets have been to 2 AFC championships, and we make fun of the Jets all the time. Like franchises that are losers, the Cardinals. I feel like the Cardinals have been to a Super Bowl in that time span.
Yeah.
Yes, it's ridiculous. It's been a very long time. And so the Dolphins, we get happy when they just make it. But the other franchises, you're 100% right. The Marlins or the Panthers, the Canes, they would look, they were good last year and it was still sort of quiet around town. Like they'd have to be in like the playoffs for people to be like the final four of the playoffs for people to be like, oh, the Canes.
There's a suspended sense of belief with the Hurricanes, who you used to always believe in. I mean, but that ship has sailed a long time ago.
Yep.
Right? I mean, what if this is as good as it gets? It would be the problem from the movie by the same name, As Good as It Gets. Jack Nicholson, he walks out of there, there's a bunch of fucking crazy people waiting to go in to see the shrink.
Yep.
And he looks around the room, and I had to spend a few like an hour yesterday in an emergency room. The Mustang is having some kind of shoulder problem, right?
Oh, jeez.
So, and I would have to say, the place we went, Imperial Point Hospital, excellent. I mean,
Oh, good.
when I went last year and they checked me in for something I didn't have at Holy Cross, and not to blame them, but I mean, there were like 150 people in the emergency room, or it seemed like at least 50 people were lined up waiting to get in to see somebody. Yesterday, we rolled right in and they treated her right away.
Good.
So yeah, that was fantastic. But when that crowded room at Holy Cross, you look around the room and you're thinking, "Holy shit!" It was like that epiphany I had at the OTB in Jamaica, Queens. And you looked around, you said, "I'm one of these fucking guys."
And you're like, look at all these people. Oh, fuck, I'm here.
So on the way out, Nicholson is looking. I don't know if you've seen this scene. Did you ever see that movie, As Good as It Gets? And he looks around the room and he sees a bunch of people that look like they're completely disconnected from any form or any chance of achieving, what would it be? Not even happiness.
Just peace.
Like feeling all right. All right. And he says, "What if this is as good as it gets?
100%.
Like this therapy, I mean, it's not taking you any further." That's kind of how we are here with the sports team. This sellout Mo Fleischer, he sold out the Miami Beach Convention Center, I believe it was every Tuesday and every Wednesday night for what seemed like 3 decades.
Jeez.
On wrestling and boxing cards. Wrestling and boxing. Sell out. I mean, and I used to go to the wrestling, especially later on. They didn't have as much boxing at the Miami. They didn't have like weekly shows anymore. But we used to go see, my buddies and I were completely enthralled, as you know, with championship wrestling from Florida.
Yep.
And the late, great Gordon Sully. Well, there you have it. This incident with the Sheik. He was dead serious also. He would have fit in well with what all of these people are actually looking for in a business, Lubie.
Yes.
Which is just play the hits. What are the hits?
I don't know.
This certainly isn't it. All right, we're going to get to the trivia challenge, and I did want to say I started out lamenting the fact that now we're trying to figure out if college basketball isn't wide open, Lubie, then wow. I mean, the bookies are just burying. Even the top handicappers in the country are scratching their heads, wondering. I don't know how the professor's faring this year on college basketball. I know it wasn't his best year of college football, but we have faith in the guy, right? His overall body of work, Chris Greer, is favorable.
Yes.
Yes. His overall body of work, Chris Greer, is not of the same fucking mush that we get every year, right? You put all your cards on the table there, all your money, you're all in. You got watches, jewelry. It's like a poker game in the Old West. Dean to the ranch, and you go 8-9.
Yeah, exactly. That's so Dolphins.
See, that's the thing. I mean, just like with this Lenski thing that we were talking about, you can't make this stuff up. You just
no, it's fucking crazy.
Guy says, "Hey, Putin," gives him the finger as he's blowing by the Russian border. Dares him to bomb the place.
Yes, that's definitely what happened. 100%.
Rope me in, man. All right, so before we get going, this was the college basketball. We had a couple of handicappers on back-to-back days. 1 and 2 for our man Troy West. He only won with Miami, who won by a hook. They covered by a hook over Florida State, 74-66, your final. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the fact that Miami will never win another game, and you would bet against them no matter how large the point spread, the University of Miami. Think about this. You talk about a fall of the mighty, Lubie.
Yep.
University of Miami, what was it, 2 years ago?
2 years ago. 2.
Just a deuce.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
like the season before last season, they were in the Final Four with FAU with Dusty May.
2 tournaments ago. It was what we South Florida stole the tournament.
Wow. That was incredible. I mean, when you think about it, the odds of that probably were the longest of any sporting result like that you could conjure up. If somebody had said that before the season, even in mid-season, that you would have 2 South Florida college basketball teams in the Final Four. Because, I mean, speaking, we've been using the word relevant a lot. Speaking of irrelevant, how irrelevant has it become in 2 years, Libby?
Yeah, look, FAU, FIU just in general, but at least football-wise, they've had different people be there where with the talent in South Florida, maybe they could win it their conference. Like maybe they could. If there was I mean, they wouldn't do it, but maybe basketball. You talked about it. They offer us their coaches every year, and we don't say no. But I have to look up. Oh fuck, who's their coach?
I
don't
couldn't
know
name
who their
you
coach
either
is.
one. No, and I met the guy from it.
And we're nice to them. We follow the program. We always have the guys on. They're usually fun to talk to. But I literally have to look up who the fuck is the coach before we even speak to the human being. Like that's how out of mind that, like, for them to be in the final, like the Canes throughout the years have been forgotten in their own town. Like that was the weirdest thing ever. And like the fact that
they're playing in the ACC and you got no steam, zero.
It's just crazy. Like
who could possibly cover sports here and play the hits all day long, Lubie? I mean, you would go out of your mind. That's for sure. An old premise, and a lot of this started out. We've been talking, we've been all over the map here, but I mean, is there something to be said for a personality-driven type of show where you're not reading the scores here? I know that Auburn beat Arkansas last night. Do I have any particular insight into how that transpired? I always enjoy seeing, for some reason, Calipari it divides a lot of people, but I always kind of like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Arrogant, maybe. I mean, was he cheating there at Memphis?
Oh, I mean, you're cheating.
What was it? The world. I mean, please. They were trying with this cloak of amateurism. They were dragging. I mean, talk about a blindfold last drag of a cigarette. What kind of a concept were we really clinging to? And were the purists out there sitting there going, "Oh my God, can you believe that? Recruiting violations."
Yeah, please.
What the hell were you supposed to do, Lubie? What do you think's going on now? It's nuts. All right. So anyway, getting buried on college basketball. Only win for our guy yesterday. He lost with Bradley. They lost outright. He was laying one on a hook. And Washington State and Gonzaga. Gonzaga ended up blowing out Washington State by like 18 points. So that was ugly. And then the day before, also another 1-2 slate there by Scotty M. So here are two guys that follow this stuff all day, all night with crews and staffs. And it's literally like throwing darts, is it not, Lubie? College basketball. Is there anything definitive that you could say about it right now, except that you can't wait for Duke to lose?
Yeah, Flag is a fun player to watch, and the SEC is dominating, which is fucking weird. It's bad enough that they dominate football. Now they're dominating basketball.
Yeah, crazy. All right, let's get to the trivia challenge. We're going to play it. You can win a Landlubber's gift certificate. We don't know yet what the fate of the Landlubber's gift certificates were that Lenny had in his possession when he passed away. And I would imagine, I'll ask Gurggles this. We kind of brought this up on Monday when we learned of Lenny's passing. All right, and I don't know if you've ever been in this situation. I know certain friends of ours have, where you owed a bookie or whatever, a loan shark, a certain chunk of change, and the guy checks out. Now, do you honor the call from the guy? There's always a follow-up call from some guy that sounds like it could be a very menacing presence in your life. And he says, I picked up all of Vito's action. Is that valid? Or do you just tell a guy to go fuck himself and take your chances and you live the rest of your life like that Navalny guy did once he started telling everybody that Putin was an asshole?
I would say that I gave Vito the balloon payment right before he passed. That's what caused the heart attack.
The balloon went right to his heart. All right, we're going to come back with you, Dave, in the trivia challenge. We'll give people a chance to dial us up. The game, of course, dedicated to the memory of a guy. Didn't he feel like it happens with people that you like, and sometimes, unfortunately, with people that you really don't like. Or you would rather dodge. But, when Lenny was around, I always felt good for some reason. Even when he ate those 3 cheeseburgers off the dais when we were doing the show there at Schuler's Steak, too. And they just brought that stuff out. And they say, Dave, we're particularly interested in your review. And before you grabbed a bite, Lenny's like, hey, these burgers are pretty good. Like he was fucking wimpy. He was great. I love the guy, man. So, we'll dedicate the game to Lenny the Chronic, and we'll come back with the trivia challenge, 954-417-0070 in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:31.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante, the Belmont's now 1.8 miles. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
Well, a Luca Panici update. Got a frantic call from my good buddy Francesco, who, of course, is dear friends with Luca Panici. They talk every day. And Luca says he had 4 mounts on the card yesterday at Gulfstream Park, and that he was going to be riding some 3 to 5 shot, I think, in the first race or somewhere on the card. And he said he didn't really like that horse, and mentioned no other horses that he was going to be aboard. And, of course, he won the second race, paid $86. And do you ever get tipped on that nag? No, never.
Oh, no.
I think the 3 to 5 shot might have jogged also.
He's the worst handicapper ever.
Either that or he just wants to see Francesco go completely broke.
That may be true.
Yeah, he bets every horse he rides except that one. Unbelievable. All right. This is dedicated to Lenny the Chronic. We had this big debate about spreading ashes around. Do we do it to various bars that have trivia contests? Lubie, I mean, he was a bit of a universal soul. I mean, he traveled in many different areas of life and seemed to enjoy himself. He liked going to work. The people there loved him.
Yeah.
We dedicate this game to Lenny the Chronic. You can dial us up. That'll leave an open line, of course, at 954-4. Do we leave a line open? Well, in honesty, we only are working off like 1 or 2 phone lines here. Can 2 guys be on at the same time?
We have 2 guys on every week, so there's an open line for Lenny.
Okay, so we're going to dedicate that one line to Lenny. 954-417-0070. We left a lot of loose ends there in that first segment, but this, I assure you, is going to come to a conclusion where we crown a champion. So Here we go. Dave Gurggles Gergely, our first set of questions, starting it out in the typical fashion, traditional fashion, in honor of the Polyman and some.
Easy baseball. Matter of fact, this first set of questions, every answer, the player's first name is going to be Lenny. So
cool. It should be a Lenny Dykstra.
All right, easy baseball. This former Met in Philly on baseball history said, "The world will end before we get another 400 hitter." I think that was mentioned in the Bible. Who's that? Lenny Dykstra, Lenny Bruce, Lenny Randall, or Lenny will be missed?
Lenny the Chronic, yeah. All right, here's a scrambler. First player in the post-Lenny era. He blew by Bernie the K after Bernie the K disappeared when he won that prize of the kite surfing. No, it wasn't kite surfing. It was parasailing. And the guy from the place that was the parasailing location calls me and says, "You didn't tell us that he couldn't deal with the long rope."
Oh my God!
So you're waiting for him to fly by. Ron, you're up on the trivia challenge. Hello, Ron.
Good morning, guys. Let's go with A.
Good morning, Ron.
Correct, my
Atta
friend.
boy, Ron.
Morning.
Ron, you or Pat Fox, when you hear of any ceremony or anything, please get in touch with me.
Yeah.
All right, let us know, please.
Yes, I definitely will.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, baseball, Ron, true or false? Lenny Randle, believe it or not, became the first American major league player to play baseball in Italy. True or false?
Let's go true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Lenny would be ashamed of you. He would have said
You
false.
get it wrong. And
Oh, that made sense. It was either him or Rocky Colavito.
All right, your 3-point question. NBA. Another Lenny. Lenny Wilkens, the all-time winningest coach in NBA history, is in the College Hall of Fame as well. Where did he go to college?
Good question.
Georgetown, Providence, St. Bonaventure, or DePaul?
Lenny Wilkens, the great Lenny Wilkens.
Oh, boy. Let's go St. Bonaventure.
Bonnie, no.
He was a friar, Providence
I was gonna say
friar.
Providence, yeah. Along with our good friend Jim Larinaga, of course. All right, you have 2, Ron, going for 7 to set the pace here in the Lenny Memorial Edition.
Mm-hmm.
All right, NFL. Hall of Famer Lenny Moore, while attending Reading High School in where I grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania, what was his football nickname in high school? A, the Reading Rocket, B, the Reading Rambler, C, Lightning Lenny, or D, all of the above?
Wow.
Oh, boy. Let's go D, all of the above.
That's what I was going to say.
Exactly right. Well done, Ron.
Good job, Ron. Great start. Thank you.
I was using some perverse reverse trivia challenge polyman thinking on that because rarely do you throw in all of the above, and all of them seem possible. So, but would you have been wrong? I guess you would have been wrong if you picked any of the individual ones.
Well, we might have made a little adjustment, but luckily we didn't have to face that.
No, that was great. So Ron sets the pace with 7 points here. You can dial us up if you want to play 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. And if you're ready to fire, Dave, I think we're ready for your next set of questions.
Okay. Golf. This TV commentator describing to the viewers Jim Furyk's unusual golf swing said, wow, when Furyk swings, it looks like a one-armed man trying to wrestle a snake in a phone booth. What's that? David Faraday, PJ Flaherty, Father Flanagan, or Father Knows Best?
I think I've told you many times about my my incident with Furyk, where I was doing one of those Gurggles type of jobs. I was emceeing like a little mini thing that they had going for sponsors on a Tuesday. Furyk was one of the players. They told me, go out there. It was the usual thing, like a roast where you get sandbagged as the host because you start making fun of people and they start hating you. So they told me, be as candid as you can be. So I mentioned something not even quite like that, as unflattering as Faraday's line, which was brilliant, and just said something about Furyk's swing. And he looked at me. I swear to God, I thought he was going to throw the fucking club at my head. He was not pleased at all to hear that. So I don't know if you ever caught that on the broadcast, but who could be mad at Faraday? All right, the scrambler lands on Pat. Pat, you're on the Lenny Memorial edition of the Trivia Challenge. Good morning.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing all right,
Hey,
Pat.
You guys all right?
Hang in there.
Thanks
Good,
for the thanks for the tip off on that.
Thanks for letting us know.
Very sad news. Yeah. All right,
All right, Pat.
we're going to give you 1 point in honor of Lenny.
Football, true or false, Pat? Eagles GM Howie Roseman, who was struck in the forehead by a beer can during the parade, believe it or not, has been offered a spot in an upcoming Bud Light commercial. True or false?
True.
I'm going to say
no,
false.
but Lenny would be proud of you.
Yeah.
Listen to
Yeah.
true or false.
Was he really struck in the head during the parade, or was that the part you made up?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he
Nah.
did.
Yeah, during the parade.
Nice. Could have been calling fights in Barranquilla, Colombia, and
Exactly.
same thing happened to him. All right, going for 4 points here, Pat.
Question.
Hoops, Pat. Only 2 NBA players played in both All-Star games for the NBA when they played against the ABA in 71 and 72. Oscar Robertson and who? Walt Frazier, John Havlicek, Sam Jones, or Wilt Chamberlain?
Havlicek.
Hondo.
Yes, well done.
Good job.
Wow.
Man.
That's a good one.
That's good for you.
Now, is it because we're old farts that you would take offense? You almost have to remind yourself when people ask greatest players of all time. We were talking about this a little bit yesterday with the Jordan LeBron thing. If Oscar Robertson isn't mentioned, how could his name not be mentioned among the greatest of all time? Is it just because like those games were in slow motion? What do you think, Kurt?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously the first guy to average a triple-double during the season, and then Westbrook did it later. But Oscar Robertson, when he'd back in on that baseline and turn around and hit that jumper, he was unbelievable.
I hated the Royals, and yet he was one of those players that exceeds your despising a particular team that he's on, and you're saying, I got to respect that guy. He was unreal. All right, 5-point question coming up here for a total of 9.
All right, Pat. Golf. This week's PGA event is the Mexican Open. Which of the following is the defending champion winning this event last year with a score of 19 under? Esteban Toledo, Tony Finau, John Rahm, or Jake Knapp?
Wow.
Ron.
Is it Rahm?
Big John Rahm. No. I'm going to say Finau.
Jake Knapp.
Okay, maybe in the final one.
Knapp. Who the hell is that?
He's had
still
2
on the
wins on the tour, I think.
All right. Good job, Pat. Pat has 4 points. Ron has 7. Good game working here in honor of Lenny the Chronic, who, unfortunately, for those who were unaware, passed away, in his sleep of a heart attack, I believe.
Yeah, and Jeff, it reminds me, we had a guy working at the golf course here who you probably knew from the old days at Gulfstream when it was reconfigured. A guy named John McGurk, who was an outside bartender, gray hair, really friendly guy, worked with the Mardi girl. He worked on our crew here, and he was supposed to show up one day and didn't, and it was the exact same thing. They did a welfare call. He passed away at 80. And Lenny, we just saw him Thursday night, and he couldn't have been nicer, as he always was. He was the nicest person you'd ever want to meet.
Good guy, man. Yeah. I don't know that we can pay fair tribute to him. You were just in one show, but and it's just this is what happens, right? I mean, I'm a big fan of other voices. I never really liked the diminishing amount of people that would call into talk shows. I always, I enjoyed that as much as talking to great guests. Was even the nuttiest, sometimes it would get a little annoying, like anybody can, right? Like the wife telling you, like for the 100th time, don't walk in that oil spot; it'll get all over your shoes. This is the new thing with the Mustang, right? Where so throw your coat over the fucking thing. What do you want me to
Well, I think an idea for the future then would be at least one guest when they call in to get on the show, just open the way Lenny always did. How you doing, guys?
How you doing,
that
guys?
was always what he said when he opened up. So that could be a tribute in the future.
How do we not have that recorded? You know how ESPN, they know Vince Scully's about to check out. I mean, it came by surprise, but they have everything ready. Like the minute the guy dies, they got the tribute going. And I have great admiration for that because it takes preparation and foresight, and you're realizing that people are going to be moved by this. But I don't know that we ever recorded Lenny the Chronic coming on and going, "Hey guys."
I haven't recorded. I don't have it cut out. I have to look. Like I can look for it.
To use that as a drop. All right. We have Ron with 7, Pat with 4. Tell us about Perdomo Cigars here, and then we'll get into our next set of questions.
Yeah, it'll be, 3 weeks. I'm going to go up to Tampa, see some friends. I'll be there for the Tampa Bay Derby. I'm going to
by the way, did you say you were going to
cigars with me? Yeah, I've got all my friends that I grew up with in Pennsylvania, and they grew up on the end of the road with me. They had 6 kids, and their mom and dad are 96 and 95 and still alive.
Oh, mazel tov.
And doing really well up in Dunedin. So them and some other guys that I go to Saratoga with, we're going to meet for the Tampa Bay Derby, March 8th.
Beautiful.
And ironically, February 12th, 2023, I got my picture taken in the winner's circle at Tampa when I snuck in when a horse called McAllen won. Well, believe it or not, that was his only win till I saw him in this past Sunday. I hit a pick 4, won some money. I left, bet 25 and 25 on him. Johnny V brings him in and pays $10. So McAllen wins again. Not only a great whiskey, but a great horse. Well, I'm diversing, but a great cigar, that's Perdomo. 5150 Northwest 167th Street, off the Palmetto on the south side, a little bit east of the Home Depot. This week coming, we'll have the guys from Youngstown, Ohio, coming Monday. The Chavone group, they made a tour, and I took them down to see Nick. Nick toured them of the plant, talked to them about all the cigars. They've been Perdomo fans for the last 20 years, and they met Nick, and he was like royalty. Well, they're down-to-earth people. It's a family business, 305-627-6700, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You want something Saturday or Sunday? Not a problem. Go online to www.perdomocigars.com to find the retailer near you. And again, my Perdomo pick for baseball, the Cincinnati Reds over 78.5 wins this year.
I like that shortstop, man. That guy's great. Is that Dela Cruz?
Yeah. They traded for some veterans too. And I think the biggest difference is going to be Terry Francona managing him.
I love that guy, man.
Me too.
Just seems like a really good guy.
Yep.
All right. Back into the game we go. And what? You want to play one more, Lubie? And
take a break and we can go to finals.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. All right. So here we go. This will be our last player here on the competition. It has to at least get a 4 spot. Gurgs, fire off the next set of questions.
College football. This coach on the Invincible Bear Bryant once recalled, one day I was duck hunting with Bear Bryant. He shot at one, but it kept flying. He said to me, John, there flies a dead duck. Now that's confidence. Was that John McKay, Jim McKay, Gardner McKay, or Earl Stanley Gardner?
Could only be one man. Here's a Renophone Scrambler. Andy Man. Very appropriate. The players that we had on the show today in the Lenny Memorial program. Andy, how are you?
What's up, guys?
Hello, Andy. Well done.
Yeah, well done, Andy. You have 1 point. You're in the game.
College football, Andy. One of the newest residents of Century Village in Hollywood is longtime trombonist Phil Miller, who as an underclassman was the trombonist in the band on what is known as the play, 5 laterals and a trombone, Cal versus Stanford. True or false?
Jesus.
Guys, I'm gonna have to go with false.
Yeah, that's
It is
false.
false.
Phil Miller's a friend of mine, goes to track, but he does play the trombone.
I'll give you a trivia question. What is the one racetrack where Jeff DeForest called a live race?
Ooh, not Calder.
Nope.
Los Alamitos.
Los Alamitos.
No, that was a great Bobby Doyle there.
Doesn't be fair.
Tampa Bay Downs.
Oh, okay.
If you went back in the archives, you would find one of the weakest race calls you've ever heard in your life by a guy who was highly critical of track announcers in his entire existence. And when I had a chance to do it, Mr. Announcer Man was kind of choking a little bit, I would have to say. A 6-horse field, Gurggles, and it wasn't easy.
It was only 6 horses.
6 horses. And I had to memorize and the whole thing. And you just, when you're doing it, all of a sudden, it's like, if the terminology is not at the tip of your tongue because you're used to using it a lot,
Sure.
You're struggling. Like, wait a minute, I know this shit. Unbelievable. All right, we are on what? The 3-point question, right? 5-point question?
3-point
No,
question.
this is the 3-point question. He has 2 going for 5.
He has 2, right. This is big.
Here we go.
By the way.
Baseball. This player in 2021 scored 104 runs without ever stealing a base. Who was it? Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna Jr., Carlos Correa, or Vlad Guerrero Jr.?
Wow.
Guess Guerrero.
That's
Guerrero.
right.
Wow. You know what Andy's sitting on here? And it would only be appropriate.
Yeah, the last time Chronic played, he had a clean sweep. He swept through and then won the championship on answering a question.
That's the thing. The guy was on a roll.
Yeah, he won
that was so incomprehensible about his passing. He was literally on the roll.
Me and Lenny had a double sweep. And he beat me in the final.
Yep.
So it might have been the first time in his pool, double sweep.
Yep.
Unprecedented thing, record-shattering thing occurring on the program with you and Lenny. And, a moment later, man, he's gone, which is really a trip. All right, so here we go for the sweep in honor of Lenny the Chronic.
Golf, Andy. Before the start of this year's PGA season, there have been 4 players on the PGA Tour who have never had a hole-in-one in a PGA event. They are Colin Morikawa, Bubba Watson, Brooks Koepka, and
Ooh, wow.
Rory McIlroy, Tony Finau, Patrick Cantlay, or Tom Fitzpatrick?
I think it was Rory.
That's what I would have said.
That's
McIlroy.
it.
Yes. Oh, baby.
All right,
Lenny, that was for you, my brother.
Wow. Even my dog stood up.
You'll be in the finals, my friend.
She normally just ignores me through the entire show. Is out cold, like most of the audience. All right, we have a final that will be Andy and Ron. This is the Lenny Memorial Tournament, and I think we should make this, what is today, the 20th of February. We'll make this an annual affair, and that's assuming, of course, that we're all still around and doing something of a similar nature. I believe this show is now headed for syndication. We will have to, Gurggles, though, reprise the role of the Polyman. And we've come to find out over the years, I mean, while we've had very capable substitutes here and there for both you and the Polyman, there really is nothing like the Polyman, like, period.
Right.
It's impossible to put somebody in that situation. It's like following Olivier into a role, to do Shakespeare in a Park or something. And you're thinking, well, what fucking chance do I have? None. But, yeah, so I don't know. What are the odds of that? That's got to be a long price on the board. Longer than your Cincinnati Reds. Over what? 76 and a hook?
78.5. Actually, that's minus 120, as a matter of fact.
Minus 120. So
Yeah.
they got you coming and going, right?
Yeah, they do. And I hate to bet something where they hold your money for 8 months.
That would be my problem with it. You know me. I mean, you're great, and everybody that would go to the track would say the time to hesitate is through. Only bet these sequence bets where you're cashing big money on pick fours and pick fives and things of that nature. But what do? I can't stand it. I need the instant gratification, so I'm wheeling and back wheeling horses in exactas all day long, and because the same amount of money might have got you a fortune if you had just had a little bit of patience. But that's a long time to
Or
wait.
if you did as I did last Sunday, I hit the pick four right before the McAllen race, and it paid $1,100. So what do? I bet 25 and 25 on McAllen instead of 100 and 100. The money's there, but
that's the whole thing. That's Dave Feldman, Chicago Sun-Times.
Yep.
Probably the best piece of literature I've ever received. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Yeah, it tells you everything you need to know about the not the psychiatry that's necessary, but the psychosis that's involved in being a degenerate horse player. Because no matter what, you're never satisfied. It's incredible. You walk out of there with a pile of cash. Hey, I could have won 5,000. All right, finals are set. Here we go. Ron and Andy, you guys know how this works. Dave's going to fire off a question. Call out your name if you want to answer right away. Nobody answers right away. We offer multiple choice. First person to call out his name gets first choice. We go back and forth until we have a winner for the championship of the Lenny the Chronic Memorial Edition of the Trivia Challenge. Here's a great Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Good luck, guys. And once again, an homage to Lenny. PGA golfer Len Matisse in 2003 lost in a playoff at the Masters to...
Ooh. Anybody? Here's multiple choice.
Jose Maria Olazabal, Bubba Watson, Tiger Woods, or Mike Weir?
Wow.
Ron.
You got Ron.
Ron.
Mike Weir.
Weir, the lefty.
That's
yes.
it.
Oh, did he know that or what? My God.
He knew it.
Congrats,
He knew it.
Ron.
He didn't use Lenny's strategy to let the other guy go first, but he knew it right away.
I mean,
It's
you
the
would
title.
think that
It's
his whole
always
body
good,
had
Ron.
It is.
been
All right, thank
infused
you,
with
guys.
electricity. All right, congratulations.
Sorry,
Very
guys. Lenny. We'll see you guys later.
See you, gentlemen.
We love those guys, but get rid of them, Lubie. No, we love you all. Thank you very much. And we obviously very moved by the passing of Lenny the Chronic. He really did. He became a part of the whole mindset of doing shows, and especially this trivia show. I don't know. He was an infrequent caller to our regular shows, right, Lubie? Over the years, every now and then he'd weigh in with something.
Once in a while, he'd get involved, but trivia, he was like a constant.
And I liked he liked baseball. He had a pretty good feel for baseball. That's one of the interesting parts about doing this kind of a show where people are saying, "Well, what the hell is that?" And you're thinking, "Wow, look at all the different things that were brought up." That would jog the memory bank of any sports fan. And we grew up probably at a time. I don't know. Do kids do this anymore, Louie? Where they actually study the history of various sports. So I could not have been any more immersed in the history of like horse racing, boxing, baseball. Not the NFL as much. NBA, of course. We knew all the old players, and you can actually spend hours just researching some of this shit. I don't think that happens anymore, and at a time where the information is far more available than it was. But Lenny was good.
Right now, I picture Lenny up in heaven, sitting next to Sam Jones, and Sam Jones says to him, "I got one for you, smart guy. Who's the only guy to win a championship in the ABA, the NBA, and college?" And Lenny will say, "Oh, that's easy. Tom Thacker." And Sam will go, "Son of a bitch, you knew it." See you guys.
That was Tom Thacker. All right. Dave Gurggles Gergely, ladies and gentlemen. Gurggles on a roll, huh?
Yep.
Hits for 1,100, leaves a $50 bet at the track. His only beef is that he didn't bet more.
Yeah, obviously.
Horse that he saw at Tampa, some obscure nag that should get buried coming down here, shipping to Gulfstream Park, but no. Ends up under Johnny V in a nice ride, winning money for him. That's nice. That doesn't happen that frequently, does it, Lubie? Where you press your action and you continue to succeed. I don't know. I probably could count on one hand the number of times where that's happened. Maybe less than 10. But where you're just rolling. Have you ever had anything happen like that? Where you're just rolling, maybe even playing a game or something. I don't know about gambling, Lubie, because you didn't gamble enough in your lifetime to have this occurrence, and you also don't understand just inner self-sabotage that leads to the kind of pain that only a gambler can experience, right? I mean, imagine last night if you were laying 8.5 with Florida State. You are cursing Leonard Hamilton today.
Oh, yeah. You to win by 8. I mean, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know how that game transpired, though. I have no idea.
I didn't even know they were playing. You caught me off guard.
They become. It's amazing to think, though, that a program could become completely irrelevant in its home city. Completely irrelevant inside of 2 years of being in the Final Four. And it's not only happened to the University of Miami, which I would say in the terms of, do I not get out enough or something, Lubie? In the consciousness of the South Florida public. And I mean, can you imagine if it doesn't register here? What's it doing across America? The only reason I even knew there was a game last night was because some guy was telling me to bet on it.
Yes.
And he would have won because of the hook.
Yep.
The rest of it, not so good, Louis.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I know. When are you planning on getting plugged into this college basketball? There's a thing circulating. I think we really need to download it, and I might have lost it though. Where Rick Pitino was just, and I'm thinking this speech had to be generated by artificial intelligence. That can't really be Pitino telling his St. John's Red Storm team that they're dog shit. But man, he like laced into him like an old school coach. It was almost like watching the coach talking to Robbie Benson in one-on-one. Don't crawl into a hole like a little rat. You have to learn to face adversity.
I mean,
Pitino is really giving it to his team. I don't know. Is that on YouTube somewhere?
I don't know. I'll look for it. I know they're having a good year. They're top 10. Like yes. I realized they were top 10.
They just had a very narrow defeat, to somebody good, but they've been rolling, man. They had a 9-game winning streak working, and Pitino working miracles. St. John's, the Red Storm was as dead as Lou Carnesecca is now, unfortunately. Dead.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. It was like, I know they were that good. I know they lost to Villanova. Well, Villanova was horrendous. They lost to a bad Villanova team a week ago, and then they beat a ranked Creighton.
Yeah. I mean, since Ron Artest.
No, they have. I mean, St. John's, I know he's made them relevant. I didn't realize he made them good. Like, they're legit good. They're top 10.
Who was the Bootsy guy that was running with Ron Artest? Do you remember?
Thornton.
Was that it? Or did you just make up a name?
No, wasn't there a guy, Scotty?
Bootsy something, right? I mean, like he was a bass player for Sly and the Family Stone, that kind of name.
Yeah, I thought it was, I think his name was Bootsy Thornton, Scotty Thornton, Scotty Bootsy Thornton.
Okay, could have been.
I remember Felipe Lopez, and I remember
Felipe Lopez was like 30 years ago already.
Zendon Hamilton and Felipe Lopez were St. John's guys. But yes, you're right. There was a dude after that was really good because they were good for a few years. And then before that, obviously, in the 80s, they were really good. In the 90s.
Big East and the ACC, they're going to merge? Big East, ACC. What do you think?
I don't know right now. I mean,
That's another thing supposedly came from Patino.
Oh, together they're going to join?
Yeah, super conference.
I mean, I don't know what they have football wise, but yeah, what's left basketball wise, ACC could use. ACC is a fucking disaster right now.
All right. Our friend Spencer Dean came up with some really good contributions here on the chat line today, including that we should bring back peace or no peace.
I know.
In terms of air pieces. And Andy chimed in on that one, saying that Bill Self, they lost, big time or something yesterday, and his hair never moved or whatever. I mean, if Danny Hurley had hair, imagine it would be flying around. It would be standing up like Don King. It'd be absolutely ridiculous. All right, we have to run. A lot of fun being with you. Once again, our condolences to all of the people out there that were involved in the life. And Lenny was a very charitable guy. He had a sister that had major health issues her whole life, and he was very attentive to her. And it was very heartening to see these pictures that he would post on social media. So, as people have been alluding to, a truly good soul.
Yes, sweet man.
I know. I mean, it's very hard to kind of consolidate this all down and resolve it. That the guy's actually gone. I mean,
no, words now. Like I honestly,
he was part of the fabric of the shows. I mean, he really was.
No, I saw him last week. He was at every trivia. He was there. They were the team that everyone tried to beat.
Right.
But they became friends with all the other regulars, and they were always like in and on the fun.
It's not as prestigious as being like a world-class chess master, but maybe
but they got into it. Like they really. Got into it.
But if you're the best at anything, either as an individual or a team, is that not? I don't care what it is. Is that not significant? If you're the best at anything,
no, it's huge. I mean, he was great, and they were great at trivia, and he enjoyed it, and he was a staple in all we did and around town. I know they did a lot of trivia, and people got real close with him. It's really a punch in the stomach, and I my heart goes out to all.
I haven't really resigned myself to actually visualizing this as being true.
It's just fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we know it is, but I mean, and I'm hoping that his passing doesn't end up being resolved in the fiasco type fashion that my friend Mike did with Big Al burying his ashes.
I presume that will not be.
I'm telling you, it was right out of the fucking Sopranos.
Big
Al got the ashes in the back. They're flying back into the van. Oh my God! All right, Lubie, you can't make this stuff up. So we'll see you guys later on. We'll join you again tomorrow. It's Thursday already. I can't believe it. So we got a January Friday coming your way tomorrow. We'll have the professor and a big board and a whole host of other things for you. And you got the USA Canada. Doesn't it seem like it's USA Russia? I almost said that.
Well, the way that they're fighting, I mean, we've never fought with Canada. Like it's fucking weird.
Shouldn't Trump and Trudeau get out there and drop the gloves?
That'd be fine with me. I think one would survive and one wouldn't.
And then that woman who seems really good, the president of Mexico. I don't know.
Yeah, she's great. Half a Jew. She's classic. I love it. She's like married to a Jewish guy. It's the best. And she doesn't give a shit.
It's not like when they had Jose Suleiman running the World Boxing Council and also being the president of Mexico under a wave of corruption that even Elon Musk could uncover. All right, we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. I'll see you next time. For the people at Bleacher Brothers and, of course, South Florida Live and Mike Lubie, Dave Gurggles Gergely. I'm Jeff DeForest. We wish you the best of times today as we leave you know that.
Good time.
Remember, it's a short trip, everybody. The Lenny Memorial. It's 9:05.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.